All right, let's dive into something that's really shaking up our understanding of the human mind. We're going to explore the work of cognitive behavioral therapy specialist Veronica Walsh and how modern neuroscience is giving us a completely new playbook for dealing with our own emotions. So let me ask you this. Have you ever had that moment where a feeling, maybe anxiety or anger, just completely takes over? It's like your rational brain just goes offline. You feel totally hijacked. Well, it turns out that's not just a feeling. It's a pretty spot-on description of what's actually happening inside your head. You see, for the longest time, the story in psychology was pretty simple. It went like this. You have a thought, that thought creates a feeling, and that feeling leads to an action. The idea was that if you could just get a handle on your thoughts, you'd be golden. Mind over matter, right? But, as Veronica Walsh points out, that's not the whole picture. Not even close. Neuroscience is showing us that our brain's physical wiring is a massive part of the equation. It's not just about what you think. It's about how that ancient fight or flight system literally pumps your body up, often before you've even had a chance to form a conscious thought. Okay, so let's get into the first big idea here. Feelings aren't just thoughts. This is where we see that old model get a serious science-backed upgrade. So check this out. The old story was this nice, neat line. Thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to actions. But the new science shows a very different sequence of events. It often starts with a perceived threat. Then your body gets pumped up, that physical surge of energy. And only after that do our feelings and thoughts kick in, almost as if our brain is just trying to make sense of what our body is already doing. That's a huge shift. The body often reacts before the mind even has a chance to reflect. So what exactly is this pump-up response? Well, that brings us to our brain's own built-in primal alarm system. We've all got one, and honestly, it's the reason our species is still around. Deep inside your brain, you have this little almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. The best way to think of it is as a super-sensitive smoke detector. Its one and only job is to scan for danger. And when it thinks it's found some, whether that's a real physical threat or even just a social one, it yanks the alarm cord, kicking off the whole fight or flight response. And this happens in the blink of an eye. Seriously, first, your brain spots a potential challenge. Instantly, the amygdala fires off a signal that triggers a chemical cascade. Adrenaline and cortisol flood your system, and suddenly your heart is pounding, your breathing gets shallow, your muscles get tight, your entire body is primed and ready for action, all before your conscious thinking brain has even had a chance to ask, wait, what's going on? The cognitive scientist Daniel Goleman has a perfect name for this, an amygdala hijack. I love that. It's when your emotional, reactive brain literally hijacks the controls from your logical, rational brain. For a few moments, reason is just out the window, and pure primal instinct takes over. This explains so much about why we feel so out of control when we're panicked or furious. Now, this system is fantastic if you need to jump out of the way of a speeding car. But what happens in our modern world when that alarm starts going off all the time? Well, that's when the system starts to break. Look, in small doses, this alarm is your friend. It gives you that jolt of energy you need for a job interview, or it keeps you sharp when you're speaking in public. But here's the kicker. The whole system was designed for these intense, maybe 30-second bursts of danger. The problem is, most of our modern stressors aren't timers we can run away from in 30 seconds. They're ongoing pressures, work deadlines, relationship issues, financial worries. The molecular biologist John Medina uses this incredible analogy. He says chronic stress is like having a saber-toothed tiger at your front door, or even worse, in your bed for years on end. The alarm just never, ever shuts off. And if you think this is some rare thing, think again. The data is pretty staggering. Somewhere between 1/4 of all people in the US will deal with a diagnosable stress disorder at some point. That tells you that learning to manage this faulty alarm system isn't just a nice idea, it's an essential life skill for pretty much all of us. Okay, I know this all sounds a little grim, but here's where the story takes a really exciting and hopeful turn. Because science doesn't just show us the problem, it also points directly to the solution. It's time to talk about rewiring your inner caveman. So, this is the most crucial message of all. You are not stuck with your brain's current wiring. Your brain is not a fixed piece of hardware. You can absolutely 100% change it. This is all possible because of an incredible property of the brain called neuroplasticity. It just means that your brain has the ability to reorganize itself, to form new connections and pathways based on what you experience and practice.
Through learning and doing, you can physically change your own brain. It's more like clay than concrete.
And this brings us right back to Veronica Walsh's work. She describes modern cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, as physio for the brain. I think that's brilliant. It's not just about talking. It's an active training program. You're doing exercises to strengthen the more rational parts of your brain and learn to regulate that overactive alarm system. So, what does this brain physio actually look like in real life? Let's put all the pieces together and talk about how you can become your brain's boss. On one side, you've got the vicious circle that so many of us get trapped in. It starts with that physical discomfort from the threat response. Then our brain jumps to emotional reasoning. I feel awful, so this situation must be terrible, which then leads to us avoiding the situation, which just proves to our brain that it was right to be scared in the first place. But there's another way. The virtuous circle. This one starts with awareness, just noticing the physical feeling without judging it. Then comes regulation, using a simple skill, like taking a few slow breaths to tell your body's alarm system to stand down. And only then, once your body's calmer, do you engage in rational thinking and actually evaluate the facts. You deal with the body first, then the thoughts. I really want to leave you with this incredibly powerful and reassuring thought from Veronica Walsh. If you struggle with anxiety or chronic stress, you are not broken. You are not crazy. It's just science. Your body's physical pump-up response is messing with your data. It's distorting the way you see the world. And anything that can be understood can be managed. Ultimately, it's all about understanding that ancient, hardwired part of you, that inner caveman, and learning how to be its boss, not its victim. So the real question is, are you ready to manage yours?